Welcome back to Talking Wanderers. We're here this afternoon to preview a new season that carries new hopes and expectations for all Wanderers fans. Here with me this afternoon to look at the prospects for the 2011-2012 campaign are our regular Wanderers experts, Liam Cronell and Mark Isles. Well, fellas, I think we can take it as read that with the programme of games that Bolton have got in the first few weeks of the season, they'll be looking for a handsome return at QPR on Saturday.
Yeah, they've got to make a fast start, haven't they? It's quite a daunting first couple of months of the season when you look at the teams they're coming up against, and QPR, whilst people might consider them to be sort of relegation candidates over the course of the season, they'll be really fired up for that first game, and we know what Neil Warnock's like. He'll have them revving and ready to go, so it does put a little bit of pressure on them, I think, to get a result at Loftus Road, but I'm sure that Coyle will have his side ready and raring as well.
It's a difficult start with your squad totally fully fit and having everyone to choose from and all your summer signings in and settled. And Owen Coyle just doesn't have that luxury. Obviously, they picked up the high-profile injuries to Chung Yong and now Tyrone Mears. There's still, comings and goings. We think Tunchai is meant to be happening sooner rather than later, but the weekend could be too soon. And it is an incredibly difficult start. I suppose the only one positive way of looking at it is you get them out of the way early, but it's going to be difficult.
The squad is still very much a work in progress, isn't it? I mean, we've got things on the boil at the moment, and Coyle's made it quite clear he wants to strengthen over and above what he's done already, even before the injuries to Chung Yong and Mears. But of course, they've got till August 31st.
Yeah, I mean they've made a couple of good additions, I think, over the summer. Rio Coker, I think, has been very impressive from what I've seen of him. Tyrone Mears obviously has picked up the injury, Chris Eagles and Darren Pratley, but all the way through, Owen Coyle said he needs these strikers because we've lost out on Daniel Sturridge, we've lost out on Joel Amanda. So, the goals have got to come from somewhere, and I think, as Liam rightly says, we're down the track now with Tunchai. Hopefully that will get done in time to figure at QPR. Talk about David Ungog, talk about Sean Wright-Phillips. Definite interest there, and if they can get those three in, I think you can probably call it a good summer, can't you?
Absolutely, but the thing you've got to remember is there's been a lot of outgoings, over the summer. The players that were released, the loan players, Sturridge and Moreno, who went back. So although there is a shortage up front, I think the squad's quite small anyway. So I definitely think they need these three more players. Mark's right, they've made a good start with the players they brought in, but they have to add to it now. And I think if you add those three players we've mentioned, then suddenly it's been a good summer of business. Without them, could leave them a little short.
Well, without wishing to get a sense of deja vu, that having been here before, the question of Gary Cahill is still unresolved, and this has been something that's been going on, as we know, for months now. And still it's Willie or won't he?
I think it still is. I mean, I think in May, I certainly expected Gary Cahill to go to Manchester City at the time.
I think Gary Cahill expected to be gone by now,
he packed up. He's literally packed up his bags and said goodbye to the lads. It had got that far, and something happened there, and it went elsewhere. And then we've had Arsenal, continually loitering. People have talked about Chelsea and Liverpool and Manchester United and Spurs, and I'm not entirely sure how much their interest has gone, barring just asking what the price is. The two standout ones were Manchester City at the beginning and now Arsenal. Whether the price tag at £17 million, as we understand it, scares a few people off, knowing that he's only got 12 months left on his contract. I mean, that's for somebody else to say, but I don't think we've heard the end of it now until the end of the window, put it that way.
It's incredible, really, because, we look back over the summer, but, really, you can look back over 2 years of Gary Cahill coming and going. Where's he going? Yes, he's going to go. And still, we're going into the final, weeks of the transfer window, and he's still there.
This is the worst case scenario.
Yeah,
really for a manager, for a club.
Yeah, I don't want it to come true, but my inclination is that he'll go on transfer deadline day at a vastly reduced sum than the figures that have been touted, and that would be a shame both for, well, just for Bolton really, because and Owen Coyle, because he needs the money, and he needs the money to reinvest in the squad.
You got to wonder though, if somebody comes in with a low ball bid on that final day, what's the real point in having that money if you're not going to be able to reinvest it? You know, you may as well keep hold of Gary and say no, sorry, come back in January.
You either make a panic signing in the last 48, 24 hours before the deadline, or you wait. It sits in the bank until January, and that doesn't do anybody any good, because you've half a season gone, and you've made no progress, and you've lost a quality player. Okay, all things being equal, everything that we've said about the squad and about the start that they've got, I mean, it still sends a shiver down your spine a little bit. It's exciting insofar as you've got the top five in the first 7 games of the season. But at the same time, you enter it with a bit of trepidation. A forecast. I mean, what do you see? We've had 14th last season. Very similar to the season before, although last season was better in terms of quality and performances. But where do you see it panning? How do you see it panning out this season?
I wish I could answer you, to be honest, in a couple of weeks' time when we've seen how Owen Coyle can get these strikers in. Because I think if you can get Tunchai in, and if you can get Sean Wright-Phillips in particular, then we might be looking a hell of a lot more optimistically at what we're about to do. I mean, I think when Stuart Holden comes back, Sam Ricketts comes back, the Bolton squad is fairly solid. There's just not enough goals in it. If they can add a striker to that, then there's no reason why they can't match what they did last season. I mean, don't forget there were a couple of big clubs who had poor seasons last year, and they're going to try and step up again. But there will always be a couple that filter down the pyramid. I mean, I genuinely think if they can get those strikers in, they can push towards top 10 and maybe above that.
I think top 12, anything above that's a great season. Funnily enough, I see it's different than last year, where they came out the blocks flying, and then they lost a bit of momentum, and then there was the semi-final defeat, and then it all sort of unravelled. I see them struggling a little at the start, while they're getting players in, while the injured players out, and obviously with this difficult fixture list that they've got initially. But then I think come Christmas, when they start getting players back, the easier fixtures, I know there's no such easier, I think they'll finish strongly, and I still think top 12 it'd be a great season, and another good cup run would be nice.
That would be the icing on the cake. If they can get another cup run and just do it right this time, it'd be glorious.
Well, if I can just throw my 2 pence in, I think the one thing that we need to look at is the Coyle factor, and whatever squad of players he's got, whatever the quality, whatever the strength in depth that he's got, there is that something that he's brought to the club, and I think that is worth a handful of points in anybody's book, and I think that he knows what he's up to, he knows what cards have been dealt to him, and I'm sure that he'll play them to the best of his ability, which is going to serve Bolton well this season.
I'll second that. Yeah.
Well, that's it for Talking Wanderers this week. Tune in next week when the team will be discussing the weekend's events and looking forward to the rest of the season. Thank you.